We are discussing dividing algebraic terms. The first thing you do when you dividing algebraic terms, change the division into a fraction, because dividing and fraction are the same thing. Once you've done that, find the highest common factor of the numerator and the denominator and divide both of them by that. Let's illustrate this a bit further. They are asking us in example 1, find the highest common factor of 18 and 12. Remember, factor is any number that goes evenly into the other number. So all factors of 18 are all numbers that go evenly into 18. And the first factor is always 1, and the last factor is the number itself. So we want to see what is the highest common factor of 18 and 12. What is the largest number that can go evenly into 18 and 12? All right, we write all factors of 18. As I said, the first one is 1 always. Then the next number that goes into 18 is 2. Then 3, 6, 9, and 18. And the last one, last factor, is the number itself, always. Now for 12, always 1, and then the next number that goes into 12 is 2, then 3, 4, 6, and 12 itself. Now we got to see what is the number, the greatest number that we can see in both of them. We can see 2 in both of them, and we can see 3 in both of them, and we can see 6 in both of them. But because the largest one is 6, we are going to take 6. So the highest common factor of 18 and 12 is 6. Now, if you want to simplify a fraction like 12 over 18, because we already know their highest common factor, we divide by the highest common factor. So you always divide by the highest common factor of the numerator and the denominator. In this case, we already know it is 6, so divide 12 by 6 to get 2, and divide 18 by 6 to get 3. So 2/3 is the simplified form of 12 over 18. So we do the same with algebraic terms. So they are asking us here to simplify 4p divided by 6. All right, 4p divided by 6, we said that the first step to write this division as a fraction. So that division becomes a fraction. The term before the division goes on the numerator, in this case 4p. The term after division, which is 6, goes in the denominator. So you get 4p over 6. Okay, now find the highest common factor of 4p and 6. P doesn't happen in the denominator, so we are not worried about that. So only the highest common factor of 4 and 6 is 2, the largest number that goes into 4 and 6. So we divide both of them by that. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So you get 3 here, and you get 2 here, and P stays. So you get 2p over 3. The other thing you need to remember, all factors of q are 1 and q, and all factors of q squared is 1, q and q squared itself. Okay, so factors of q are 1 and q, and factors of q squared is 1, q and q squared. So what is the highest common factor of q and q squared? That's going to be q, because that's the largest one that happens in both of them. So the highest common factor of q and q squared is q itself. Then we can use that to simplify fractions. Here what we have in this example, simplify q over q squared. So what we are going to do that, first thing, as we said, change it into a fraction. Q over q squared becomes q over q squared. Now divide the top and bottom by the highest common factor. We said that the highest common factor of q and q squared is q. So divide the top by q, divide the bottom by q. Q divided by q is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. Q squared divided by q is q. So then our answer is 1 over q. Next example, divide 4pq by 12pq squared. Okay, first look at the numbers 4 and 12. What is their highest common factor of 12 and 4? All right, the highest common factor of 12 and 4 is 4 itself, because 4 goes into 4 and 4 also goes into 12. So for p and p, the highest common factor is p itself. For q and q squared, the highest common factor is q. All right, so what we are going to do, we are going to divide the top by 4pq, because p is the common factors of p's, q is the common factors of q's, and 4 is the common factor of 4 and 12. So we are going to divide by the product of all these common factors, 4 times p times q. We are going to divide this by 4pq. So if you divide 4pq by 4pq, you're going to get 1. If you dividing 12 by 4, you're going to get 3. If you're dividing p by p, you're going to get 1, which you don't need to write. And if you're dividing q squared by q, you're going to get q. So your final answer is going to be 1 on 3q. Simplify 6pw divided by 4wu. Again, write it as a fraction. 6pw goes at the top, 4wu goes at the bottom. What is the highest common factor of 6 and 4? The largest number that goes into 6 and 4 is 2. Then for w and w, what's the largest common factor? That's w. And for p and u, we don't have anything in common. So p over u is going to stay, p over u. You divide 6 by, and 4 by their highest common factor, which was 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And w and w, you divide w by w, that goes away, and w by w, or you get 1, and you divide w by w, you get 1. So when you got 1 and you got other things in your numerator and denominator, you don't need to write 1, because anything times 1 is itself. So we end up with 3p over 2u. Okay, once again, why is that? Because 6 and 4, look at the numbers. Their highest common factor is 2. Divide both of them by 2. You get 3 and you get 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then for w and w, the highest common factor is w. Divide both of them by w. When you divide w by w, you get 1. When you get divide w by w, you get 1. You don't need to write 1, 1, 1. Doesn't make any difference. Then for p and u, they don't have anything in common, they stay. Okay, that is your final answer, 3p over 2u. Thank you.